What's up, everybody? This is Round by Round with Derek and my brother Daniel here. And today I want to start off with a question. All right, question for you, Daniel. What is the most overlooked skill in boxing?
Defense.
All right. That's so, my opinion, the most overlooked skill is learning how to relax your muscles.
And breathing, you know what I mean?
Breathing and relaxing your muscles, because think about it, anything you do, tense your whole body and try to do something, a physical activity, running, jumping, just moving around. You're going to get tired a whole lot quicker. Learning to relax the muscles, especially the traps and the arm muscles and even the leg muscles and face muscles, it's going to save you, it's going to spare you a lot of energy, you know. Guys will hit their road work and they'll do their conditioning, they'll do their rounds, and then they get to the fight and they gas out and they're like, well, what the hell? And my whole theory is well, maybe they weren't relaxed enough in that state, you know. That's why the guys who do these big fights for the first time, they gas out a little bit because they're not used to that atmosphere, you know. They're not used to.
For suggestions for beginners in a fight, like a pro fight,
Yeah.
I would suggest doing more cardio because you're going to be more tired. You're going to be more tensed.
Yeah, you're going to be more tensed, yeah.
You're not going to be in your zone. This is new to you. This is all fresh.
All adrenaline's going to be kicking in. Once that adrenaline kicks in, it starts eating up that gas tank.
Or go in the ring warmed up, like really warmed up.
Yeah.
Like on the mitts, whatever you.
Shadow boxing, mitt work.
Just warm up your muscles and keep them warmed up.
Yeah. Go in there with a light sweat, huh?
Yep.
But yeah, and I think that keeping your body relaxed, I think it's kind of a skill you have to learn, man, because when that flight or fight kicks in and you're about to fight, you do tense up, you know what I mean? Everybody does. Unless
Even if you're confident, right?
Yeah, even if you're confident, unless you've built up the skill to stay relaxed and that adrenaline and that rush of being in a fight where people are watching you and you're getting scored and judged, it's like you're going to tense up, you know what I mean? We all are. I'm really bad about it.
Especially when a lot of people are looking up.
Yeah, especially when you're in the ring and you have that, you're elevated to where everyone can see you. Oh yeah, dude, you're going to tense up. So I think a big thing is practice relaxing yourself and even relaxing your face and relaxing your neck and traps. That's a big one.
And don't be giving yourself away in the ring. Like, don't be looking at where you're going to be punching. Like, looking at the body, like, oh, I'm about to punch the body. Looking at the head, like, oh, I'm about to punch the head. Look at the chest and only at the chest at your opponent. Because his body, depending on where he moves, how he ducks, how he moves his head, how he sways, how he moves to the side, you want to be focused.
Yeah, and another thing is when you're looking at something, the eyes look at something, the head follows, and when the head follows, the body follows. So whatever you're looking at, that's where your whole body is going to tend to gravitate towards, and that can be a cause for openings and things like that. So it's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, like if you're aiming for the chin, aim for the chest. Simple, like only a boxer would know this shit. You know what I mean?
So yeah, if you're aiming for the chin, you look at the chest, pretty much, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I get you. Yeah, I get you. Keep your eyes just at a broad spectrum of view, you know. Don't focus too much. You know, well, sometimes
Don't be giving yourself away.
Sometimes, dude, I've boxed people, man, and they'd be looking one way, they'd be looking at my body, and then boom, I'll get tagged in the head because I'll see them looking at it, and I'll be like, all right, and he's about to hit me in the body.
See, I'm that boxer. I'll
get popped in the head.
Shit
Yeah, dude, tricking them, mind games. I think that's always cool. So another thing is, you know, what are some drills you can do to practice your relaxation? Well, for instance, if you train rounds and you get your 3-minute 10 or 2-minute 10, you have your minute break, 30-second break. It's good to take a break and everything, catch your wind, and get your body used to that rhythm of 2 minutes on, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, 30 seconds off, whatever. But on your off time, bounce around and really shake out yourself, really feel where you're tense at. Some people are tense in their traps. A lot of people are tense in their traps. I know I am tense in my traps.
I'm tensed in my footwork. Like,
yeah,
I like to when I punch. I like to be grounded. I like to be flat-footed.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but when I fight as a flat-footed fighter, that's more of like an offense fight. And I need to also be on my toes so I can fight as a defense fighter.
Yeah, just shaking out the calf muscles and the quads and hamstrings. They're real tight, and then want to be connected to the floor to get that power through.
Yeah, it helps with endurance.
Yeah, so just keep the legs shaking out, the traps, the arms, even the jaw and neck, like
Even your hands, dude.
your hands.
Keep your hands. Don't keep them tensed up, because then that'll just strain your
Yeah,
forearms. And
bounce around and loose out on all your muscles in that 30 seconds, in that minute. Stay bouncy and shake out all that tension.
when you throw a punch, this goes with the jab and a power punch. You're supposed to keep the hands loose, and as soon as you're about to go into contact with the person, you tense up the hand.
Tense up that fist, yeah.
Yeah, you tense up the fist. You close it up, and then when you hit, it'll come out. It'll come off fast and hard.
Yeah, it's like I was always taught try to touch him without him seeing you. That's for like a speed cue, but it's also, if you think about it, relax cue. Because if you're about to touch somebody real quick, you kind of relax yourself and whip yourself out there like a noodle. And
You bring it back quick too. That's what determines speed, is bringing back your hands, not bringing it out. Everyone can punch out fast, but can they bring out a punch, bring it back to their head and body quick? Because that's how you throw the rabbit punches. But people ain't just throwing those punches straight. They're bringing them back to their bodies between. So
Yeah.
bringing
it back quick.
yeah, that determines speed right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks
That's a quick
quicker.
fu-
Yeah, it
that's a
looks
quick
quicker.
boxer
Because if
right
we
there.
punch the same speed, but you bring it back quicker than me, you're gonna look a hell of a lot quicker. Because
Yeah,
you
because then
reset.
you can reset it out.
Because you're already reset, ready for the next punch quicker than I am. Even though our speed is the same, if you reset your punches quicker, you're gonna pop off 2 punches for my 1, because you just reset quicker than me. So
You
that's a
leave it
big
out
thing.
too long, you're gonna get
Countered.
clocked. You're gonna get countered.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude. And this is all, man. This is all coming from just a self-realization, of little.
This is coming from multiple trainers that I've worked with.
Yeah, self-realization and just watching myself and hearing trainers, say the same
Learning
things.
through sparring. Like,
Learning through sparring. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, the sparring partners are usually pretty cool, and they'll tell you, hey man, you should try this out, or give you pointers here and there, and that's something I've heard a lot, man. Just bring the hands back quicker, reset quicker. I know that's one of the trainers that I work with. He tells me, reset quickly. Get ready for the next punch, or get ready for a punch coming at you. Because you ain't just trying to hit them; they're trying to hit you too, obviously.
I'm just saying, fight as a defense and offense fighter.
Defense and offense.
Yeah, train as a defense or an offense fighter, because you're gonna be at a time where there's gonna be a bigger boxer than you. He's gonna be like 10, 20 pounds heavier than you on a sparring match. Not no pro or amateur fight, but a sparring match. And you want to be able to learn how to fight in a defense fight. You know what I mean? Because in the ring, that guy could probably take your punch, eat it up.
Yeah.
Then what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do then?
Yeah, you're gonna. Well, to train as a defense and offense, it should all work together. You should work your head movement, work it in with your punches. Your foot movement should work in with your combination. So if you throw a combination, a 3-piece combination, or if you throw, a whatever type of combination, there should be punches and head movement in there in that combination.
And move out the way after.
And footwork should follow, or footwork should lead, and then your combination should follow, and then followed up by some more footwork. It should all work together. It should all float together.
It's just some stuff I see in myself and in beginners that need to work on both. They just need to work on both.
Yeah.
It's not hard to, like, you think, oh, I'm so good of it as a defense fighter, I don't need to work on my offense. Nah, man. You need to work on both.
Both, yeah. Absolutely. It should all tie in. Your defense should roll off your offense should roll off your defense, and it should be back and forth. And when you're in trouble, hey, roll more on defense. When you're closing in for a kill, or you're having a good streak, roll on that offense. But the head movement should always be in there with punches.
Because if your trainer didn't teach you it in the corner, he can't be telling you, now try to stay behind, try to move it to the side, when you didn't train that way.
Yeah.
He can't expect you to tell you that. All he can say is, you're doing good, when you're not.
Yeah.
You don't want that, man. We're just telling you because that's going to happen. You're going to have to take initiative on yourself. As a fighter, you can't rely on your trainer.
Yeah.
You got to only rely on yourself. You got to study your body.
You got to have a good self awareness of where you're at. You got to be honest with yourself.
Because they won't always be honest with you. I'm not saying that they're going to lie in your face saying you're the best, but they're not gonna always be truthful on what you need to work on.
Or
They don't see it. Maybe they just don't see
yeah,
it.
sometimes they just might not see it. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just overlooking something. Because I mean, if you're a trainer and you're training 20 guys, maybe you're not, but let's say you are, and you're training 20 guys, you can't nitpick every single one of them. It's impossible. You know, you just got to give a good general advice.
Or
to
maybe
each
you're
of them.
just not their favorite fighter, so they ain't gonna spend time on you. You gotta become their favorite fighter by teaching yourself and self-awareness on your skill.
And working hard on your weaknesses.
Yeah, and then you'll become their favorite fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of Mike Tyson's old trainers said that they liked him so much because the way he would train is they would tell him, hey, you know, when you dig your uppercuts, you know, lean your body into it, flick that uppercut up. And so they'd tell him that, they'd tell him one time, and then they'd watch him. For the next hour and a half, he'd be in front of the mirror doing exactly what they told him. They'd tell him one thing, and he would go practice it on his own. You know what I mean? If your trainer tells you something, and he says, hey, turn your fist more when you throw the jab, don't just do it in front of him. Go to the bag, go to the mirror, and practice it. You know, it takes about 7,000 repetitions for something to ingrain into your nervous system. So once you've done something 7,000 times, now it's ingrained in your nervous system. Now it's just like breathing or walking. It's ingrained in you. You could do it without thinking. You could literally do it in your sleep because you've done it 7,000 times. That's a rough estimate. Some people may be a little bit less. Some people may be a little bit more. But the golden number, I feel like everybody should follow when it comes to skills. And not just boxing, but any sport in general. You know what I mean? Any team sport, combat sport, or anything in life, you know, when it comes to at work or in the house. If you want to get good at something, practice that thing 7,000 times with good form.
And it shouldn't be hard for boxing, man. All
Yeah.
you're doing is throwing a punch and covering up and moving out the way.
Yeah.
It's probably like if you worked on 20 things in boxing 7,000 times each, you'd be a pro fighting level boxer, man.
I don't know about pro level, but you'd have a very good understanding. You'd be definitely amateur level.
Well, I'm not talking about the strength, the ability to pull it off, but I'm just saying the knowledge and the
know-how.
ability to look good.
The know-how.
Yeah.
The know-how, but not necessarily being able to put it into application 100% of the time.
Yeah,
Like
you
a
still
pro
have
should be
trouble.
able to.
Even pros have trouble doing that.
Yeah, sometimes they have trouble. They have flaws too. Everyone has flaws, and it's up to you to find your flaws and work on them and make them your strengths. And then once you've made one of your flaws your strengths, another flaw will pop up, and then you work on that one, make it your strength. So if you struggle with footwork, you know, do footwork drills. Make that your strength. Like, damn, he has amazing footwork. And to some people, it comes easy. Some people it comes a little bit harder. You know, some of us are a little bit heavier than others, and some of us are just a little bit more flat-footed than others. And it's going to take more. You know, maybe for some of us, it may take 20,000 repetitions to get it into us because our nervous system just doesn't want to work that way. You know what I mean? Our brain doesn't want to work that way. But with repetition is the father of learning. And the more repetitions you do, the more unlikely you're going to be proficient at what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I agree with you right there, Derek.
Repetition, father of learning, you know what I mean? That's the big takeaway point when it comes to drills. That's what drills are for.
So what do you suggest for a boxer who struggles with their breathing? Do you suggest they hit the road and do some road work, or you suggest he needs to work on his breathing skills? Like
both. Rhythm, you know what I mean? It's all about rhythm. Learning how to inhale, exhale with your punches and your movement, because a lot of people overlook head movement, upper body movement in boxing. It's really overlooked. A lot of pros make it look real easy, and it's so acute, it's so small that the untrained eye don't see it. They just see a guy in there throwing punches or moving their feet a little bit, maybe a little bit of head movement, but those head
that's
movements,
where you know he's skilled. When
those
he makes
head-
it look easy as fuck, dude.
when it's smooth, yeah, man. And you could breathe in with that head movement. You could breathe out with a punch. You can breathe in when you take that punch back. You can breathe out when you move your head to the left. You can breathe in when you move your head to the right. And just learning to move your body and your breath as one. You know,
Yeah, 'cause
breathing with movement.
Learning, all right, so for instance, a boxer who doesn't know how to breathe in a fight, like he cannot get his air, he's going to be tired. He's going to gas out in like the second, third, fourth round, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he can run a marathon. He's going to gas out because he's not learning and teaching himself, all right, breathe, exhale when you throw a punch. Breathe in when you come back with a punch. Exhale when you throw a punch. It's stuff that
Well, we
comes
all
natural to some, but is hard to develop.
We all seen it firsthand. The Mayweather McGregor fight. You know, McGregor had great cardiovascular endurance. He was in great shape. He's a tremendous athlete. You know what I mean? He's a badass athlete, and to go in a boxing match was way different than an MMA match because MMA, your body's accustomed to the 3 5 minute rounds or 5 5 minute rounds, and your gas tank and your all your energy systems are in tuned to that rhythm right there. 5 minute rounds, only 3 or 5 5 minute rounds. That's your body's accustomed to that rhythm, accustomed to that time frame. Now he goes into a boxing match, and it goes into multiple 3 minute rounds. You know what I mean? The work rate might be a little bit different. You might have to ease into it more than an MMA fight because you have a little bit more time to ease into it. And if you go in there and you blow your load, which I believe he didn't train specifically enough. He wasn't boxing.
He thought he'd go in there and knock the fuck out of Mayweather, but that's not gonna happen. You gotta fight on every scenario. You gotta train as.
He wasn't ready for the Mayweather that we saw that night. He wasn't ready for the come forward and
No,
bang
dude.
Mayweather. He wasn't ready for that.
No, McGregor hasn't fought like that in years, so that was a shocking for most.
Yeah,
'Cause
man.
He hyped him up, man. Who's the best at trash talk? Mayweather, right?
Yeah.
Who won in the trash talk before that fight?
Oh, before, dude, I don't know, dude. I like
That
McGregor's.
was close, right?
I
But I
liked
think
McGregor.
McGregor won that one.
I think Mayweather kind of let him have his shine. You know what I mean? Because
He's gonna
that
F
wasn't
him
the
up.
best. That wasn't the best Mayweather trash talk I've seen. I've seen him way better than that. And McGregor was just off and off and on. Mayweather's just like, you
Macking
can't
his
beat
ass,
me, man.
annoying the shit out of him.
And Mayweather was just like, you cannot beat me, man. You cannot beat me. And he was right. He can't. You know what I mean? He was
But
just.
then again, he can't beat him in the octagon.
Who can't beat who in the octagon?
Mayweather couldn't beat McGregor in the octagon.
And he didn't go in the octagon because
But
he's
that's
smart.
what I'm saying. Mayweather knows what he fights best at. He knows where he's comfortable at. He's done it many times
He
before.
knew not to go to his turf. He's like, you know what? I'll let this young lad come to my turf.
I'll
And
let
he
him
did.
talk all that shit he wants. He'll just embarrass himself. You know
He's
what I
in
mean?
my turf, you know. He's in my realm. He's in my sport. You know what I mean?
Age didn't even matter at that point, dude. It had
Yeah,
to do with
he was
skill.
gassed. He was gassed. For one, it was a big magnitude fight. He was a little tense. Going back to keeping the muscles relaxed, he was a little bit tense, and it showed. And his energy systems weren't ready for the rhythm of a boxing fight. You know what I mean? They're too accustomed to an MMA, not boxing, and it showed. He gassed really bad. But that's why training specific to your sport is also important when it comes to breathing. Like you questioned earlier about what would you do for breathing.
Yeah.
I would say practice your sport more. You know what I mean? Mitt work and be aware of how you're breathing. Exhaling, inhaling. Be aware when you're doing all this, and don't hold your breath. Because a lot of people when they get excited, they hold their breath.
Well, I did some research on how boxers should be breathing in a sparring match. And it says to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. But you with a mouth guard in your mouth, what do you think of that, man? What do you think?
I think it comes down to what's most comfortable for the person. I know when I run or when I do anything, I breathe in and out my mouth. I know a lot of research out there, a lot of the literature says to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. But I guess I do both and both. Like I breathe in through my mouth and nose, and I breathe out through my mouth and nose. Because what if your nose gets broken? Or what if you have a bloody nose and you can't breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth? The mouthpiece won't inhibit you so much if you're used to it. Won't inhibit your ability to breathe so much if you're used to having a mouthpiece. Training with a mouthpiece. If you never train with a mouthpiece, a double guard mouthpiece, which is for the top and bottom, and you go in for the first time in a fight with the first time having that mouthpiece in there, ooh, you're going to be in for one hell of a surprise. Even a sparring match. Like, let's say you're sparring at your gym for the first time, and then they're like, all right, throw in your mouthpiece, and you go get it out of your gym bag, and you throw it in, and then you just remember, like, oh, shit, I haven't trained with this thing, dude. I haven't trained with this thing all week. Now I got to go spar with this thing in. You're going to have a hard time because it's going to be new for you. It's just another thing to think about. But let's say if you're hitting bags, you're skipping rope, and you're doing all your drills with that mouthpiece, it's a little bit more comfortable because now you're like, oh, well, it's comfortable. Same thing for groin protection and headgear.
You suggest hitting the bag with a guard
training
on your
train how you're gonna fight. You know, train how you're gonna fight. If you're gonna fight with a groin protector, train with a groin protector because it's only gonna get you used to having that groin protector on. Get you used to having that mouthpiece on. You know what I mean? Having your hands wrapped a certain way because, you know what I mean. You might wrap your hands one way, and then the trainer goes and wraps your hands. He's gonna wrap them a different way. And now your fist, when you put it in your glove, it's gonna be a little bit off, and that's just something else to think about. Something that's gonna bug you. So if you can train specific to how you're gonna spar, and you can spar specific to how you're gonna fight in the ring, that's the best thing you can do because then you become comfortable with it because you've done it before.